Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal.
Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. Show brought to you today by William Hill's Final One Standing. Don't forget, each and every week there's a new competition. The way the competition works, all you got to do is back your team to win each week in the Premier League and you go through to the next round. If you lose or draw, you are out. I went with Brighton yesterday. They got me a win, right? So I'm through to the next round. It's free to play. If you want more details, the link is in the description. T's and C's apply. You've got to be based in the UK or Ireland only, over 18, and please gamble responsibly. Now, what a fantastic win for Arsenal yesterday. Brilliant. To go away to Bournemouth, and let me tell you something, not an easy place to go. Bournemouth are a very good side. I thought they, especially in the first half, they played really, really well, forced us into lots and lots of mistakes, including the first goal. But listen, we showed a lot of spirit. Gabriel gave away the goal. And what I loved about it yesterday is when he gave that goal away, the fans immediately started singing his name. That's not something you would have seen a few years ago. It would have been moans and groans. Got behind the team. And then in the second half, we were a different team. And Declan Rice, what a player we have here. That £100 million was money well spent in the January. Well, no, so it was a summer transfer move window when we bought him. What an excellent investment that's been. One of the best midfielders in the world right now. And it was the Declan Rice show after that. It wasn't just the goals. He was absolutely everywhere. And Arsenal still top of the league going into 2026. But it's about staying there. That's what it's about. And a player like Declan Rice, I think a lot of us as fans, we look on it and we think, irreplaceable right now. You look around and, you know, there's players that can come in for other players. Even Gabriel, I think he's such an influential player. But you do have backup. You know, you can play Encapsulates there. You can, you know, hold Mascara. You can move Saliba there. I mean, there's options. There's options for most players. You know, I mean, you saw yesterday, Madueke, how well he did coming in for Saka. You know, there's options for Odegaard. You know, Eze. You know, great options. But the one player that you look at and say, is there really a player that can replace him, is Declan Rice. So we'll also, in this transfer window, be looking for that type of player who could step in for a Rice. Could it be Rúben Neves of Al Hilal over there in Saudi Arabia, formerly of Wolverhampton Wanderers? Remember him when he was in the Premier League, a real top player. It was a little bit of a surprise when he went over to play in Saudi because he was still a player on top of his game. But now his contract over in Saudi Arabia is starting to come to an end. It expires in the summer. And according to reports, and one of those comes from Court Offside, they claim that he's been offered to many clubs in the Premier League, including Arsenal. More of a defensive midfielder, although we have seen him sort of, you know, be a player can get around the pitch, scores goals from the edge of the box. Not a Declan Rice, but could he be a sort of player that could be a backup? Wouldn't cost a king's ransom to get a deal like this done. As I said, he's been offered to a lot of different clubs around the Premier League. Arsenal said to be one of them. An experienced midfielder. Should this be the type of player that Arsenal are looking at? 28 now, so still experienced, not too old. Should Arsenal make a move for Rúben Neves this transfer window and to have as a backup to Declan Rice? Is he even really a backup? More of a defensive midfielder, and we do already have Norgard and Zubimendi there. What do you guys think? Would love to hear from you guys in the comments today, but he's a player being linked with a move to Arsenal. Another player that's been linked, of course, has been Rodrigo. Sport even claiming that Arsenal have offered £52 million to try and get the signing of the Brazilian done this January transfer window. How true that is, let's wait and see. Al Hilal, actually, who I just mentioned over there in Saudi Arabia, are also a club that are very interested in signing him, and we know that they'd be able to match, if not go beyond those wages. He's on a huge wages at Real Madrid, said to get around about £285,000 a week. Al Hilal would be willing to go higher probably to get a signing like this done, but it's where he wants to go. And also, because there's conflicting reports. A lot of reports are saying that Real Madrid don't want to sell him. They've already, got, as we know, a wealth of riches up front. But, just like Arsenal, they're battling on all fronts for multiple things this season. They've already sent Endrick out on loan to Lyon. To be honest, I don't see them selling him this January. But there has been these reports that, he's changed his agency, which is always an indication of a player looking at his future. He hasn't been playing week in, week out, although when he has played, he has been decent for Real Madrid. Going to be one to watch this January transfer window. As I said, there's been bold claims, including from Sport, that Arsenal have offered £52 million for him. Would Arsenal even move for him this January transfer window? We've seen with Semenyo, who Arsenal do like, but they haven't moved for him this January. So let's see how that one pans out. Another player from Real Madrid who also been linked with has been Arda Güler. Again, bold claims from a Spanish publication called Figueres. They always do a lot of stuff around transfers. They're saying that Arsenal are preparing an offer of £70 million to try and get Arda Güler signed. But again, I can't see it this January. I mean, Arsenal love Arda Güler. They do think he's a really talented player, but they've just outlaid that money on Eze. You can't even get in the team. You've got Ethan Nwaneri, can't get in the team. Are they going to go and cough up £70 million for Arda Güler? Maybe they might look at it in the summer, but I just can't see that. But Fisher is saying today that Arsenal preparing an offer of around about £70 million to try and get him signed. Another really talented player that we know Arsenal are big fans of is Kenan Yildiz of Juventus. Now, Arsenal very keen on his signature. However, maybe bad news for Arsenal, because Gazzetta dello Sport reporting today that Juventus are closing in on offering him a new deal with a real uplift in his salary. Said to be giving him around about £5 million a year. That's a huge salary at his age. That would be an increase of 1.3 million a year. And his new contract, of course, would take him, would extend the amount of time he'd be at the club to around about 2030, 31, they're saying. And, of course, up his valuation. And he's already valued at around 70, 80 million pounds. Arsenal do like this player. They like Kenan Yildiz. But, again, I don't think it's a move that they'd be looking to make in January. More in the summer. But it's definitely looking like Juventus are looking to try and keep hold of their star player. So, yeah, one to monitor. This is a player they've been linked with Arsenal today. He's a young Brazilian striker who can play as a striker. He can play right wing, left wing. That seems to be the thing you've got to be able to do nowadays as an up-and-coming striker. His name's called Ryan. He plays for Vasco da Gama over there in Brazil. Still only 19. Now, according to the Brazilian journalist Eduardo Burgos, he claims that Arsenal and Manchester United are both trying to buy the player. He's said to have this release clause he's said to be valued at around about £69 million by Vasco da Gama, who are reluctant to sell him right now. However, his valuation is probably around about a £25 million mark, although to get him away from there, you'd have to pay over the odds to get him. He's contracted till 2028, so they're in no rush to sell him. But could either Arsenal or Manchester United make a move for him this January transfer window? We know Mikel Arteta has already said they're on the lookout for top talents. Andrea Berta moves stealth in these transfer windows. 20 goals this season and 1 assist in all competitions in the Brazilian league. So one to keep an eye on. Ryan being linked with a move to Arsenal. And this one, finally, good news for Arsenal. I think Jurrien Timber, who's been absolutely brilliant for Arsenal. Remember, we first signed him in 2023. He got injured straight away. Bad injury, was out of the team. You don't know how a player's going to come back after suffering, an injury that keeps you out for literally a whole season. But he's come back with a bang. Right now, for me, the best right back in the Premier League, one of the best right backs in world football right now. He's strong, he's quick, he's a great defender, he's great at getting forward. He's still only 24, Jurrien Timber. 2 goals and 3 assists this season. Now, his current contract expires in 28. 18 months left on that current deal, and Arsenal said to be sitting down and offering him a brand new contract extension, which he's willing to sign to keep him at the club long term. Remember, we signed him for £38 million, valued at around 70 million now, so his valuation's already gone up. He's doubled, and it can only go higher. Such a talented player. That is the example of an excellent signing. Remember, Man United were the first team looking to sign him, and then they didn't bother, and Arsenal went in and got him, and he has been an exceptional signing for Arsenal. And if we can sign more players like him, long may it continue. So those are the rumours today. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget to check out all of our excellent content from yesterday's game at Bournemouth, all the fan cams that we did at the stadium. It was a great win for Arsenal. And let's keep it going. Don't forget as well, the show brought to you today by William Hill's Final One Standing. Link in the description if you want to get involved. Remember, over 18, you've got to be based in the UK or Ireland only. Please gamble responsibly, and terms and conditions apply. Thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.